bags outside, put your mobiles on silent. Basic decorum just to help us learn each other. Okay, so we are already delayed by 30 minutes and thank you for walking all the way and reaching here. So, let's quickly do the introductions.
Transportation?
Yeah, just little. So just tell where are you coming from, what do you do, and then your name.
Hi.
Where are you coming from, what do you do, and then your name. Yeah? Okay.
So, I come from Kochi and I am founder of a social initiative in London Power, which creates mental health awareness and
Okay, sure.
my name is
Maya, very good. Yes. Yeah, go ahead.
I come from Calicut. I'm an Ayurveda doctor. My name is
Yes.
Hi, I'm Dr. Nikila. I come from Calicut.
ഞാൻ വിളിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ടായിരുന്നു എനിക്ക് കോൾ എടുത്തില്ല ഞാൻ രതീഷിനെ മെൻഷൻ ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ടായിരുന്നു
Oh!
Yeah.
Hi, I'm coming from Calicut. I'm founder of Tune Online,
Which one?
online user creation platform. So my name is Mirza.
Mirza. Okay.
Hi, I'm Kiran. I come from Paragat. I'm an entrepreneur in food processing.
Myself Rajiv, coming from Palakkad.
So I am Ibi Verghese. I'm from Bangalore. So I'm working as a design student.
Okay, sure. Fine. Hasna, you want to introduce yourself? Come sit down. You don't need to stand. Sit. You have more work sitting down, not standing. Yeah. So myself Hasna, I'm from Famous. Okay, both of you, can you introduce yourselves?
I'm Abhidam from Korea, coming from Korea.
Okay.
I was studying in Wellbeing College Farms.
I'm Arash. I'm coming from Tingal, studying Wellbeing College Farms.
Okay.
I'm Adityan, coming from Kochi. I'm studying right now. BTech.
Sorry. Our camera is on. Gautam. Okay. Wonderful. So here is what we are going to do today, quickly, okay? So our focus is on emotional well-being. It is not related to many aspects of physical well-being, but we're going to very clearly talk about what is that we do internally. Yeah? Good topic, bad topic? Wonderful. So here we are, a little bit here. It's a handful. I think one way it is good because then we get some personal time to talk about and there's no, that, right? You don't need to really manage too many things. So we're going to talk about a couple of concepts here. Let me ask you by this question. Feel free to answer, okay? There is no right and wrong answer to any of this. So whatever comes to your mind, that is your fact. So you don't need to really go by the Google definitions of it. So whatever you think is right, tell me that. It doesn't matter where you come from, what your profession is, how you identify yourself with, yeah? So let's start with this. What is an emotion? What is an emotion according to you?
So feeling.
How we feel, okay? How we feel at the moment. Come to the front. Gautami. Yeah. Any other answer? What is an emotion? So now we are in the learning phase. Forget who you are, what you are, like I said, right? We're all now learning from each other. What is an emotion?
It's a response. It's a response from within to what is happening outside.
Okay? It is a response from within on what is happening outside. Okay? Any other answer?
It's a
മലയാളത്തിൽ ചോദിക്കാം വികാരം എന്താണ്?
It's a reaction towards situation. Present.
Reaction towards a situation. Come to the front. Okay, so it's a reaction towards a situation. Okay, any other answer? Any other answer? What is an emotion? Okay, so we all have defined emotions a little differently. Each of us have our own definition on emotion. Now let me ask you a second question. What is a feeling? Are they the same? You can sit. No, sit down. I know you are the mic person. Yeah. Sit down. Yes. What is a feeling? ഇത്രയൊന്നും ബുദ്ധിമുട്ടുള്ള ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻസ് ചോദിക്കരുത്. ഭയങ്കര ബുദ്ധിമുട്ടാ. എന്താ ഫീലിംഗ്? ഇതൊക്കെ പറയാറുണ്ടോ? ഭയങ്കര ഫീലിംഗ് ആ. എന്താ ഫീലിംഗ്?
What we feel inside.
How you
Feel inside.
ഭയങ്കര ഫീലിംഗ്സ് ആണ്. എന്താ ഈ ഫീലിംഗ്? ഇടയ്ക്കിടയ്ക്ക് ഓരോ പ്രസംഗിക്കുന്ന സംഭവമാണല്ലോ. വാട്ട് ഇസ് ഫീലിംഗ്? അസ്ന, വാട്ട് ഇസ് ഫീലിംഗ്? How are you feeling now?
thoughts.
Very dejected, is it?
A reaction towards something which is happening also.
Okay, that is what somebody told about emotion. Yeah, he just defined that as an emotion. Now let's take one step further. What is a thought? What is a thought? So emotion നമ്മൾ നോക്കി, feeling confusion ആയി, emotion പറഞ്ഞപ്പോൾ feeling confusion ആയി. Thought എന്താണ്?
Comes to your mind.
Comes to your mind. അപ്പോൾ emotion എവിടെ വരും? From the heart. അത് ശരി. Feeling എവിടെ വരണേ?
Thought process.
Thought process ആണ്.
Our external stimuli.
Okay, external stimuli, and that's exactly what they were saying. It's a reaction. So now, if you really look at it, we've defined all the three in the similar way. The emotion is same as feeling, same as thought. But do you think they are the same? No. So what is the difference?
So thought is like the first step, I would say. Something happens, we process it,
Thought
and
triggers a feeling.
then it triggers a feeling or an emotion.
Okay. How many of you agree to that? Thought comes first, and then happens emotions and feelings. Okay. Fine. Okay. Any other thought on that?
And it can be other way around also.
Ah.
Once you get the emotion or feeling, after that you will start thinking. That is
Okay.
also possible.
Okay. Now let's take one step forward. There's one more attached point to that. Behavior or an action. What is that?
How we perceive the situation. So we behave.
Do you realize how well we are using English here? We're putting words together and trying to make a meaning out of it. But actually, what is behavior and action? Like there are people, let's say an example. There are people who will walk into you all the time smiling. They're always smiling. What do you make out of them?
Good behavior.
Good behavior, cheerful.
Happy person.
You can also answer. Students are positive. So we all process that behavior in different ways, right? So there are 4 aspects we are talking about here. Emotion. What's the second one? Feeling. Third, thought, behavior. Now let's see the difference between these 4. The very small, subtle differences between all the 4. Yeah. Emotions is a natural process. It means if I shout at you, what do you feel?
Sad, angry.
Sad, angry. Natural process. You're driving a car on the road and there is someone constantly honking behind you. What do you feel? Annoyed. Angry. Do you feel happy?
No.
Oh, he's honking, I'm so happy. Doesn't happen, right? So then what happens is that particular moment there is an emotion trigger, which is very natural to a stimulus from outside. So there is an external stimuli. The moment it hits you, your brain processes an emotion very, very automatically. You cannot control that. Now, there is a feeling attached to it. A feeling is usually a choice you make. Yeah? For example, let's say fear is an emotion. Pedi. Fear is an emotion. And attached to the feelings in the carrying. Goosebumps. But that's more of an action, right? If the body is showing it up. Fear on the goosebumps are never
Shiver.
shiver, okay.
Heartbeats.
Yeah, goosebumps are right? Heartbeat kudu. That's again a bodily response. But what's a feeling attached to fear? Panic? Anxiety, yes. Sometimes fear and kuda feelings vera. Sadness. It is another emotion which gets triggered, which is another feeling. So if there is a feeling of fear, different people feel it different way. So the emotion of a fear is a trigger which is out of a stimulus, and different people process fear differently in different feelings. And that's what is anxiety. It can be sadness. It can be even anger. With fear comes also anger, right? So sometimes an emotion is led out of an emotion that becomes a feeling because I choose how to feel about it. I can feel anxious about a fear, or I can feel very sad about the fear. And that is what we call as threat response. There are 4 kinds of threat responses. നമ്മൾ ഇങ്ങനെ നടന്നു പോകുന്നു. അപ്പോൾ ഒരു പുലി മുന്നിൽ വന്നു. Simple example. എന്ത് ചെയ്യും?
Flee.
Flee.
Fighter.
Fight or flight, right? But there are another two responses to threat. So one is fight, which is you may choose to actually beat up or kill the tiger. Second is flight, which is run away, seeing that. And it all happens from this point called amygdala, right? And third one is actually called freeze, which is where your nervous system completely shuts down. You cannot move, you just go freeze, right? You can't think, your blood rate, your heart rate goes up, your blood rate comes down, all of that happens. So it's freeze. There's a fourth one typically in corporates and in workplaces what happens. Can anyone tell me?
Stress.
Stress.
Faint.
Threat response ആണ് പറയുന്നത്. നമ്മൾ ഫിയറിന് റെസ്പോണ്ട് ചെയ്യുന്ന വിധങ്ങളാണ് നമ്മൾ പറയുന്നത്. ഇഗ്നോറുമല്ല. ഫോൺ. Absolutely. What is fawning? FAWN fawn. Fawn എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ നമ്മൾ പച്ച മലയാളത്തിൽ പറയുകയാണെങ്കിൽ സോപ്പ് ഇടുക. നല്ല ഭംഗിയുണ്ട് കാണാൻ. നല്ല ഡ്രസ്സ്, നല്ല ദുപ്പട്ട.
I wasn't falling. I have nothing.
Oh, I'm just kidding. So you can use such kind of a conversations actually when you actually go through a threat response. And what really happens in threat response? അങ്ങനെ വരുമ്പോൾ നമ്മൾ usually ഒരു power play നടക്കുന്നതാണ് നമ്മൾ ഫോൺ ചെയ്യും. Which means to my boss or to somebody who is at a position of a power. So if you're a boss of your company, you're an entrepreneur, you have 10 people working under you, they may try to actually phone you in a certain way. So you need to be emotionally intelligent to understand ഇത് genuine ആയിട്ടുള്ള കമന്റ് ആണോ അതോ ഫോണിംഗ് ആണോ. ഫോണിംഗ് ആണെങ്കിൽ you need to see how as a leader you are actually managing your leadership style. Because you do not want to work with people under stress or threatening them. Somebody was telling me yesterday in Kerala Startup Mission, I was talking that we need to, threat people little bit to get the best out of them. Not really works all the time. Especially in a modern workforce, it doesn't work. You need to somewhere bring people together, activate their brain cells and see how is it they can work creatively, right? So threat responses is something which you need to be very clear of as a entrepreneur. Now, ഇതിനൊക്കെ കൊണ്ട് നമ്മൾ എന്താണ് ഇനിയിപ്പോ തോട്ട്സ് ഉണ്ട്. തോട്ട്സ് എന്താണ്? തോട്ട്സ് ഇസ് സംതിങ് കോൾഡ് മലയാളത്തിൽ പറയുകയാണെങ്കിൽ ചിന്തകൾ. It comes out of a feeling. Appo feeling anxiety. Let's say fear is an emotion. Anxiety is a feeling. Now what happens to my thought is that because of anxiety, I want to just run away somewhere. Like I want to probably kill myself to the extreme. Or I feel dejected and I just withdraw from everything. It's a thought. Thought of failure. Thought of something which I cannot accomplish. So all those thoughts will kick in soon after the feeling kicks in. Yeah? And after the thought is the action. My action actually stems out of all these three. So for example, let's take the same thing. Somebody is honking from behind when you're driving a car. The emotion is anger, let's say. The feeling is frustration. You feel. Choice of feeling is actually frustration. With the frustration, the thought is that ഞാൻ ഇവനെ സൈഡ് കടത്തി വിടില്ല. Let me go in the front. Or else, let him go in the front and I will honk behind. എനിക്ക് തന്നത് ഞാൻ അവനെ തന്നെ തിരിച്ചു കൊടുക്കാം. It's a thought. And then it leads to an action where you actually give sight to this person goes to the friend, and then you honk. You see? So these are critical aspects of how behaviors are built in us. നമ്മൾ വിചാരിക്കും ഇതൊന്നും വലിയ സംഭവമല്ല, പക്ഷെ ഇതൊക്കെ വലിയ സംഭവമാണ്. കാരണം ഇതുകൊണ്ടാണ് നമ്മുടെ പല ബിഹേവിയേഴ്സും നമ്മൾ ഡിഫൈൻ ചെയ്യുന്നത്. So it works one after the other. The more we do not know what our emotion is, the more we are not in control of our action. Because emotion is a stem or the basis of every behavior which you see outside. It can be as small as enki raavile mottham orangana. It's coming out of a certain emotion where probably you're not fulfilling certain things. But namakku emotions aayumbo oru idea illa endana emotion, oru idea illa endha feeling, oru idea illa endha thought, പക്ഷെ നമ്മൾ അറിയുന്നത് actions മാത്രമാണ്. Because actions are loud and clear. Like he said, goosebumps. എന്തുകൊണ്ടാണെന്ന് അറിയില്ല, പേടി കൊണ്ടാണോ സന്തോഷം കൊണ്ടാണോ എന്ന് അറിയില്ല. I just get goosebumps. Typically we say stress. When we keep saying that stress is something, ഞാൻ കയറുമ്പോൾ തന്നെ സ്ട്രെസ് ആണ്, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ രാവിലെ എണീച്ച ഉടനെ സ്ട്രെസ് ആണ്. But do we know what causes that stress? Because stress is like an umbrella. We kind of call stress as a mother madriya. എന്ത് പറഞ്ഞാലും പറയും എനിക്ക് ഭയങ്കര സ്ട്രെസ്ഡാ, ഞാൻ ഭയങ്കര സ്ട്രെസ്ഡാ, ഞാൻ ഭയങ്കര സ്ട്രെസ് is something which is so much of glorified today that we do not know what is causing that stress. For all you know, ഞാൻ ചെയ്യുന്ന ജോലി എനിക്ക് ഇഷ്ടമല്ല, അതാണ് പ്രശ്നം. പക്ഷെ നമ്മൾ അതിനെ കവർ ചെയ്ത് പറയും ഐ എം സ്ട്രെസ്ഡ്, because you're not thinking below one more layer of stress, which is what does it contribute to? What is that emotion lying there? I'm very unhappy with what I am doing. That is why I am stressed. So let me go back and correct whatever I am doing to a space where I really become happy of what I am doing.
Stress is an emotion.
Stress is a feeling. Emotion is what we do not get into. So we do not know what emotion is contributing to that stress. And then we miss it. Because then we are not addressing the stress at all. We are only addressing stress എന്ന് പറയുന്നു, അതിൽ കൂടെ നമ്മളിങ്ങനെ നടന്നു പോകുന്നു. കുറെ കഴിയുമ്പം it becomes chronic stress disorder, which actually is a major cause for autoimmune diseases like cancer. So it is very important for you to understand that as much as stress, little doses of stress is very good. Like little doses of fear is also very good. You cannot be always fearless. We need to be fearful because it protects us from a lot of things. But the problem is also when you continuously fearful, then there is a problem. Anything beyond a limit is a problem, right? So we are talking about a few things here because it is important for you to go back and understand when you are in an entrepreneurship journey, where are you actually starting? Why are you even? You are a doctor. Why do you want to become an entrepreneur? You have choices, right? Now what in you is actually driving that entrepreneurship? Second space is where you align with a lot of people. You work with a lot of stakeholders. It is important for you to understand what is that stakeholders expecting from you and how are you delivering it. ചിലപ്പം ചിലർ വിഡ്ഢിത്തങ്ങൾ പറഞ്ഞു എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ് നമുക്ക് ദേഷ്യം വരും. പക്ഷെ ആ പറയുന്ന ആള് ചിലപ്പോൾ നമുക്ക് വളരെ ഇമ്പോർട്ടൻ്റ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു മനുഷ്യനായിരിക്കും. How do we process that? How do we connect? Yeah? So, are we clear in terms of what is emotion to thoughts to behavior? ഉണ്ടോ? എല്ലാവരും മൊബൈൽ ഇല്ലേ? ഐ വാണ്ട് യു ടു ഗോ ത്രൂ ആൻഡ് പുട്ട് ഇൻ എ ഗൂഗിൾ. വേഗം എടുത്തോ, നല്ല സന്തോഷമായിരിക്കും മൊബൈൽ എടുത്തോളം പറഞ്ഞ്. അപ്പോൾ വേഗം എടുത്തിട്ട് അതിനകത്ത് ജസ്റ്റ് ചെക്ക് ഫീലിംഗ് വീൽ. Go to Google and put something called feeling wheel. കിട്ടിയോ? You will see some colorful concentric circles, images la. കിട്ടിയോ? ഇതിനകത്ത് one particular one is there. Calm എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ ഒരു ആപ്പിന്റെ റിലേറ്റഡ് ആയിട്ട് ഒരെണ്ണം വരും ചിലപ്പോൾ. Yeah? So അത് ഓപ്പൺ ചെയ്താൽ so that we all various types of feeling wheels are there, but that one is a pretty good one. അപ്പം അത് ഓപ്പൺ ചെയ്ത് നോക്കുക. അതിനകത്ത് എത്ര ഇമോഷൻസ് കാണുന്നുണ്ട്? അതിൽ എത്ര ഇമോഷൻസ് കാണുന്നുണ്ട്?
6.
എത്രയേ ഉള്ളൂ?
What should we Google now?
Feeling wheel.
Feeling wheel. So you will see concentric circles. Primary emotions, secondary and tertiary emotions. നമ്മൾ usually feel ചെയ്യുന്നത് primary emotions ആണ്.
ഇതെല്ലാം emotions ആണ്.
Yes, everything is an emotion. But we know only those primary ones, which is your happy, sad, anger. So anytime you ask anybody, ഒരു ഫണ്ണിന് ചോദിച്ചു നോക്കുക നിങ്ങളുടെ ഫ്രണ്ട്സിനോട്. ഒന്നാമത്തെ കാര്യം how are you feeling എന്ന് ചോദിച്ചാൽ എന്താ ആൻസർ യൂഷ്വലി? Good. Good അതിലുണ്ടോ?
Okay.
Okay. Okay അതിലുണ്ടോ? ഉണ്ടോ? Fine. Fine അതിലുണ്ടോ? ഇല്ല. So emotions and feelings ആണ് പലപ്പോഴും interchangeably use ചെയ്യും. So how are you feeling കൊണ്ട് ഉദ്ദേശിക്കുന്നത് what is your feeling today? It's not good. The answer is not okay. The answer is not fine. It is either sad or angry or happy or whatever. So our ability to call out an emotion is very limited. നമ്മളത് ഒരിക്കലും ചെയ്യുന്നില്ല. But it is very important for us to be aware of at any point. What am I really going through? ഈ feeling wheel എന്ന് പറയുന്ന സംഭവം it's a very important tool. And this is how you can use it to build more empathy in your leadership style. What is empathy?
Putting on one
Other shoes.
Understanding other feelings. Understanding
Okay.
other feelings.
Any other definition? What is an empathy?
അയാളുടെ ശരീരത്തിൽ നിന്ന് അയാളെ നമ്മൾ അയാളായിക്കൊണ്ട് അയാളുടെ ഇമോഷൻസിനെയും അയാളുടെതിനെയും നമ്മൾ കാണും.
Okay. Where and the definitions? Empathy. Any other definitions? According to you, what is empathy? Athram parnja madi.
Understanding other people.
Okay. Now let me ask you, what is the difference between sympathy and empathy?
Sympathy has some pity.
Mobiles option.
Sympathy has some pity involved in it also.
Sympathy has some pity involved. Okay.
Empathy is more of a positive one.
When you put yourself in someone else's shoes.
That is
Respecting others.
Respecting.
The other person.
Sit down. Sit down. Please don't stand. Sit.
അവരായിട്ട് മാറി ചിന്തിക്കുന്നത് അവരുടെ സ്റ്റാൻഡിൽ നിന്നിട്ട് അവരായിട്ട്
Other empathy. What is the difference between sympathy and empathy?
സിമ്പതിയിൽ 2 വ്യക്തികളുണ്ടാവും, എമ്പതിയിൽ ഒരൊറ്റയാളാണ്.
ആണോ?
അല്ല, എംപത്തിയിൽ രണ്ടുപേരുണ്ടാവും. പക്ഷേ എംപത്തിയിൽ ഇറ്റ്സ് മോർ ഓഫ് എ പ്രോബ്ലം സോൾവിംഗ് ഓർ ഹെൽപ്പിംഗ് ദ അതർ പേഴ്സൺ ഔട്ട് വിത്ത്
എത്ര പേര് ഇവിടെ എംപത്തി കേട്ടിട്ടുണ്ട് വാക്കുകള്? എത്ര പേര് ഇത് യൂസ് ചെയ്യാറുണ്ട്? യൂസ് ചെയ്യാറില്ലേ? ഇല്ല, എന്റെ ആവശ്യം വന്നിട്ടില്ല. സിമ്പത്തി എത്ര പേര് കേട്ടിട്ടുണ്ട്? എത്ര പേര് യൂസ് ചെയ്യാറുണ്ട്? ഇല്ല. ഓക്കെ, വെരി ഗുഡ് രാജീവ്. ഹാപ്പി. ഓക്കെ, സോ എംപത്തി കുറച്ചുകൂടെ പോസിറ്റീവ് ആണ്. Which is true, right? Empathy is actually thinking from the other person's point of view എന്നാണ് ജനറൽ ആയിട്ട് നമ്മൾ പറയുന്നത്. വേറൊരാളുടെ നമ്മൾ പറയും തിങ്ക് ഫ്രം ദി അതർ പേഴ്സൺ ഷൂസ്. അർത്ഥമൊന്നും നമുക്ക് പറയാൻ പറ്റില്ല. പക്ഷെ മറ്റുള്ളവരുടെ സിമ്പിൾ ഒരു എക്സാമ്പിൾ പറയുകയാണെങ്കിൽ, if there is a man who is hungry, teach him to catch the fish. That is empathy, which means it is sustaining. It is not really telling this person എന്നു രാവിലെ വരൂ ഞാൻ ഫിഷ് തരാം കഴിക്കാൻ. അതല്ല പറയുന്നത്. I will teach you how to catch a fish so that tomorrow you don't need to come to me. You will figure it out what to do for your hunger. Whereas sympathy is a man who comes to you, I actually provide this person a food or a fish on a daily basis. Very simple ആയിട്ട് പറയുന്ന ഒരു ഡെഫിനിഷൻ ആണ് എംപത്തിയും സിമ്പത്തിയും. എംപത്തിയുടെ അകത്തൊരു ബോർഡർ ലൈൻ ആണ് വരുന്നത്. എംപത്തി ഇല്ലാതെ ഒരിക്കലും ഒരു ലീഡർഷിപ്പ് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഓൺട്രപ്രണർഷിപ്പ് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ എന്ത് തന്നെ നമ്മൾ ആക്ടിവിറ്റി ചെയ്യുകയാണെങ്കിലും വിതൗട്ട് എംപത്തി ഇറ്റ് ബിക്കംസ് വെരി വെരി ഡിഫിക്കൾട്ട് ഫോർ പീപ്പിൾ ടു വർക്ക് വിത്ത് യു. One is obviously you are not growing. Second, people are also not really warmed up to you or work with you because they'll always see you as a person who is only bothered about your own self. We call that narcissistic behavior. You're not moving away from that. So for an entrepreneur, that is not something which is advisable. That is why empathy holds a very strong position. The triple bottom line നമ്മൾ പറയും, TBL. Has anybody heard of it? The triple bottom line in a company or an organization have 3 dimensions: people, planet, profit. People, planet, profit. We all run behind profit, but we hardly run behind people and planet. Which means, are you building sustainable solutions? Are you really involved in building people around you? Are you building a community around you? Are you very focused in terms of giving value adds towards building a sustainable solution? And profits will actually come behind it. That is the whole idea. Okay? So when you talk about empathy, it is very important that empathy is practiced to achieve TBL, which is your triple bottom line. The triple bottom line is actually the way you build the business. ഈ 3 എലിമെന്റ്സും അതിനകത്തേക്ക് നമ്മൾ ആഡ് ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ it becomes a more sustainable and value adding business. Today social entrepreneurship എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ് നമ്മൾ പറയുന്നു, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ അതല്ലാതെ ഒരു നോർമൽ entrepreneurship എന്ന് പറയുന്നു. ഇത് രണ്ടും തമ്മിൽ വലിയ ഡിഫറൻസ് ഒന്നുമില്ല. Any entrepreneurship should become a social entrepreneurship, which is also for yourself and for people around you. So empathy is extremely as an important aspect, and to understand empathy you need to understand emotions. You need to know how the other person is feeling at any point in time.
I wanted to ask something. Like when we are talking about empathy right now, we are mostly talking about let's say someone is angry on us, or is disappointed, or some mostly negative emotions. I don't know whether we should call those as negative emotions, but generally speaking, those are negative emotions. What I have understood is, as we we discussed here, we are trying to understand them from their perspective. Okay. Is it only related to emotions like or responses like anger or disappointment or maybe crying, all those things, or even for happy emotions? Even there, I think
Yes,
we
it is
need to-
all. It is true for any emotion you see in that feeling, really, right? So if I'm sitting opposite to you and you're my customer, let's say, and then you're very happy with what I am doing. So today I'm delivering to a few people here, and when I look at each of your face, some people like it, some people are okay. What's going on? Some people, so you can sense it. As a human, we can sense an emotion very well, right? And when you sense it, how do I process that and acknowledge to you is very important. Can I actually maneuver through that? So I'm seeing somebody very bored. Can I actually pay more attention to that person? Because I'm sensing there is an emotion of frustration happening there. And then I process that, and that is empathetic, which means I'm thinking from their point of view. And it is true for also positive emotions. So you're happy with what I'm doing, how can I capitalize and do that action more and more? For that, I need to understand your emotion first. If I don't understand an emotion, I'm not tapping into it at all. So emotions are actually big tools for us to flourish as an entrepreneur. You know? So we'll move into another space. Are we clear? Are we on the same page? Yeah.
Small doubt. As you said about empathy, I had been misled many a times. When my colleagues or subordinates, then they enact in front of me, see this is what it is and all. So I empathize with them, and I try to, as you said, give a self-sustaining solution to them. I've been trying it for many people, but ultimately it failed with a lot of people. After they quit only, I understand their problem was totally different. But they enacted in front of me a different problem. So I tried solving it and getting it done for them. Even like for their kids' education. Not money, finance, no, nothing like that. Just assisting them. But it so happened all these people had a different kind of emotion which I understood only after they quit.
You got to probably think whether it was actually sympathy or empathy. Because many a times we confuse between these two. If somebody comes and cries to me saying that I'm not able to do this and you're doing this, sympathy is also important, but sympathy is not sustainable over a period of time, and it doesn't it doesn't bring in a behavioral change. So
I
that
think
is
it's a one-time action.
Hmm?
It's probably a one-time action.
Yes, it's probably a one-time action and just gives you. You are not in touch with that person for a longer period of time. Someone you see on the road, you kind of help that person. That's sympathy. You don't have the time to be empathetic to that person. Also be mindful. Empathy is not like full supply for all of us every day. Empathy is in limited supply. So you got to know where you have to empathize. So each of us have got a limit of empathy. ഒരാൾക്ക് 5 kg ആണെങ്കിൽ മറ്റേ ആൾക്ക് 100 gram ഉണ്ടാവുള്ളൂ empathy.
How do we differentiate a guy or a disappointment or anger or he's not happy kind of a feeling is true or not?
I didn't get the question.
The person in front of you, probably your colleague.
How do you assist? Tell me.
Because it's quite happening.
Genuine emotion.
Because they tell me a different kind of a problem, and I solve it and get it done actually for them.
Okay.
And I told them, see, you told me this, I've corrected it. But doing it continuously also, my colleagues are not happy, and a period of time they quit. And I understood there are external things also, but why these people are not understanding? I am empathizing and sympathizing with them and getting things.
No, you cannot empathize and sympathize. You can do only one of them.
No, sympathy is the first step of empathy.
No, it's not.
എനിക്ക് തോന്നുന്നത് you are actually listening to them, not empathizing.
Yeah.
There's a difference. When they are telling their problem, you are listening.
You're
not trying to
immediately
solve
getting
it.
into an action.
Action.
So somebody is telling you. So she comes and tells me, I want to start a company. Okay, come. I'll make you sit here. I'll tell you what to do. Blah,
if
blah,
you
blah,
process,
blah,
get into their mind,
blah.
try to
So
understand.
you're not
what
processing
they're
the emotion
doing.
of it. That's what Rajiv is telling. Talk about it. Yeah. So I'll quickly move into, since we started late, I want to cover one more aspect of well-being. Now tell me, what is the difference between well-being and happiness?
So it's not.
Go on.
It's not necessary that you have to be happy all the time.
Mhm.
Well-being is emotional resilience.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go through a bad time, you know that you have to bounce back.
Mm.
That is it.
Okay. Any other thought? Are they same? Are they different? If it is different, why is it different?
Happiness happens like in a limited period of time. Probably in an instance, or well-being, I think it's a process. So
It's a continuous.
It's on a continuum. Yeah, it's a continuous process. Absolutely, spot on. So when you say well-being is not just happiness alone. Happiness is just a small part of that well-being, right? You just feel that emotion, but it is more related to joy. Joy as an emotion. If you see that wheel, you will see joy as an emotion. So it's more related to joyfulness, which means that I don't need to always jump up and down being I'm so happy. No, but you just feel it inside. You just feel so cheerful. You just feel nice to meet people. You just feel talking to everyone. So simply you come across as a very joyful person. And I think that is what is the biggest trigger for well-being. Now, how do we reach there? There is somebody called Dr. Martin Seligman who figured out that there are 5 elements of being focused on the well-being part, which is extremely important. Now, I'll put that into a small acronym called PERMA. Has anyone heard of you? Heard it or not? PERMA, it's called. You can write it down if you have chart paper. I think half charts. You can take these charts or notebooks or whatever you want to use. Yeah. You can cut the short. Sorry. Yeah. So, there's something called PERMA, which is PERMA. And to expand a little more, we also have something called, come sit in the front, PERMA Plus. Louis Philippe brand onnu alla to. PERMA Plus, which is a positive sign at the end of it. Now, can anyone tell me? So, people we say that PERMA is what defines your well-being. That is actually one of the ways to focus on your emotional well-being, which is very essential and acts as a pillar for any activity we do, any thought process we do. Because unless that foundation is built very strongly, you do not have clarity of thought. You do not understand how to relate to concepts in every way. So as much as you say IQ is very important, where we learn these skills, right? EQ, or for that matter, well-being is also extremely important. Yeah. So we'll look at it. What is a PERMA all about? Can anyone say what would be P?
Positivity, presence, perseverance.
What is that? Just try it out. Some fun. What is P? Sorry? Persistence, okay.
Present.
Positivity. Present. Any other thought? What is P? Okay. P stands for something called positive emotion, which you just mentioned, right? Are there positive and negative emotions? Yes. Are there good and bad emotions?
No.
Very right. There are no good and bad emotions, but there are positive and negative emotions, right? And well-being is usually when you feel more of positive emotions. You also will feel negative emotions because we are human beings. Now, how do we know that these negative emotions are not consuming us? And how do we process it properly and get it out of your system? How do we have outlets to express that in a very beautiful manner? Deshamanu, my choice is actually anxiety, and then the rest extra response for me is to actually shout at something. Can I actually reduce that gap between the stimulus and the response? The more there is gap between a stimulus and a response, the more well I am processing a certain emotion. A profound example is anger. Anger is one emotion which has an instant response. It can be anything. It can be throwing things, it can be walking out, it can be showing my back on somebody or going quiet. It can be any of that. And even suppressing that emotion is not so good. Because over a period of time, it will boil out into something bigger. Because it is unprocessed emotion. Emotions need to be processed. If you do not process it, it actually gets into your system, it affects your body cells, and it creates an autoimmune response. Which again is a leading factor for all your autoimmune diseases, including cancer. So there is an impact on emotion to your overall physical well-being also, and that is why this is even more important. Yeah? So PERMA talks about positive emotions. Now tell me some positive emotions. What are they?
Love.
Joy. Beautiful.
Joy.
Joy, yes. What else? How do you feel positively? Just look at that feeling wheel. You just look at it.
Right.
Cry?
Excitement.
Excitement, cry is an emotion? Is cry an emotion?
Sad is it?
Reaction.
Sad is an emotion, absolutely. Sad is an emotion. Yeah, cry is a process out of sadness, basically.
Optimism.
So call out your emotions very clearly. You got to know what your emotions are. The more you name the emotions, your body attunes to processing it well. So that's why we call it name your emotion. Name your emotion. There's so many people talking about it. Call out your emotion. Tell yourself, I am feeling sad. I'm wondering why am I feeling sad? I'm feeling sad because there are not a lot many people here. I'm feeling happy and I just want to contain and be happy because at least so many people are there. You see? The change of narrative. When you say the change of narrative, your body picks it up and it works with you. Because your mind and body is absolutely fantastic machines which will align with the way you want to project yourself.
It's like this glass half full.
Absolutely. Half glass full. Right? What is it you're seeing? And that is what triggers an emotion in you. And that is why it's called a positive emotion. Positive emotion is the biggest contributor to your well-being. And you need to understand that, okay, this is making me happy. Let me be happy. So I know these are 2-3 things which makes me happy. And many times we also think certain behaviors make us very happy. Let me keep continuing that behavior. That is also a problem. And that is where it's called PERMA plus. We'll come to that plus, yeah? No, I don't need a mic. Thank you. കേൾക്കുന്നില്ലേ പറയുന്നത്? ഉണ്ടല്ലോ. രണ്ടാമത്തേത് എന്താ? E. What is E? Energy? Okay. What is E in PERMA? Are we clear on P?
Yeah.
Positive emotion? Let's do a small exercise maybe. You have a book. Just write down what do you feel as an emotion right now. What is your emotion right now? Is it positive, negative? Can you call it out or just write it down there?
It's curiosity and emotion.
Check your wheel. Easy reference is that wheel. And I would suggest download that wheel. Keep it as a screenshot. Whenever, especially in the most difficult time, just go to it and say, what am I really feeling? Should I actually feel this or not? It's a great way for emotional regulation, which is part of emotional intelligence.
So there are only this many emotions.
There are many other, but these are the ones who are prominent in us.
Curiosity is an emotion.
Is curiosity an emotion?
Yes, happy emotion.
Happy emotion.
You feel something and somebody you have to look at them.
What do you do?
After a point in time, it etches in your mind. You kind of realize it, and everything has a learning curve, right? And this is a learning curve. This is where
never
it starts.
defined it like this.
Sorry.
What am I feeling right now? We've never defined it like this.
Yeah.
Probably that's why we need to look at
Absolutely, you need a reference there because I do not know.
Yeah.
I'm feeling it, but I don't know what it is. Just imagine that.
Yeah.
That's why we only call out primary emotions, no? Every time I go for a session and ask what are those emotions, say happy, sad, anger, fear. അവിടെയൊക്കെ വെച്ച് നിൽക്കും ചിലപ്പോൾ ലവ് ഒന്നും വരികയില്ല നോ ലവ് നോ jealousy. Jealousy is like inherent in us, but we never pick out jealousy because we all think we are nice people. We never feel jealous. Sorry, we all feel jealous, right? Yeah. So it is so important for us to consider these are part of our emotions, part of our build as a human being. And these are tools which God has given us, and how well we use it actually makes a lot of difference. Because it equips you to be a very intelligent person emotionally. Chit chat, students bad.
Sleepy is a bad emotion.
Many people I know are very sleepy. Yeah. Yes.
ഈഗോ ഇമോഷനാണ്.
ആണോ? നോക്ക്, വീല് നോക്ക്. ഇനി അടുത്തത് അതാ, എന്ത് ചോദിച്ചാലും തരെ പറയും വീല് പോയി നോക്ക്. അതിലുണ്ടോ അത് ഇമോഷൻ?
ഈഗോനെ നമ്മൾ ശരിക്കും പോസിറ്റീവും നെഗറ്റീവായിട്ട് കൺസിഡർ ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റില്ലല്ലോ.
എന്താണ് ഈഗോ? അത് നമ്മളൊരു ഡീവിയേറ്റഡ് ഡിസ്കഷൻ ആണ്. We will come to that, but I will address that sometime, yeah, when we have time. But we'll move to quickly the second part of PERMA, which is E, and it is called engagement. What do you mean by engagement?
Attention.
Attention? What do you mean by engagement?
How involved you are.
How involved you are? Yes?
Presence of mind.
Shh.
Presence
Presence
of mind.
of mind.
Involvement.
Involvement. So involvement, presence of mind, how engaged you are in a certain. So very simply to understand whether you are engaged or not is one or two things to check, right? One is, I'm sitting here and I don't know how the time is going. Very simple statistic to see I am engaged or not, right? Which is that I am joyful. You're fully engaged. Right? You like what you're doing. Second one is talking about I'm fully engaged and I also don't know that it is but I feel it very simple. I enjoy what I'm doing and I find it very nice and simple. Usually it comes with practice. For example, driving a car. When you start driving a car, it is very difficult. You tend to search where is a gear, tend to search where is A, B, C, clutch, accelerator, and check it. Seat belt കഷ്ടപ്പെട്ട് വേണം ഇടാൻ because you're still learning, right? Once you start learning, car ഓടിച്ചു തുടങ്ങുമ്പോൾ പറയും ആരോടും മിണ്ടരുത് ഞാൻ കാർ ഓടിക്കുകയാണ്. Please don't talk. I will get distracted. We go through that also. The third level is where I don't care who talks, who doesn't talk. I will drive, I'll get in, I'll do my things. Correct? We all go through that learning process. Right? So in an engaged way, it is probably at the last end of the learning process where this becomes a muscle memory for us. You're so skilled. And that you will reach only if you have the intention to do it. കുറച്ചൊരു ലൈസൻസ് ഉണ്ട്, കാറുണ്ട്, ഓടിക്കാൻ അറിയാം, പക്ഷെ ഓടിക്കില്ല. I'm not comfortable. So there is something which stops you. You're not engaged in a certain activity, right? We also call that flow. It's a flow state. Flow state il nammal operate cheyyumbozhana as a human being nammal eppozhum flourish cheyyunnathu. When you say flourish, you're growing as a human being. Yeah? So as much as possible, the best way to understand whether you are doing something, whether you like it or not, is to check how am I feeling about it. Am I feeling it is very difficult? Am I feeling that it is, even though it is difficult, I am enjoying what I am doing it? Because I don't know how the time is flying when I am sitting on it. When I come for a workshop like this, like it's nice, meet new people, talk different things, learn from each other. It's in a flow state. I don't even know when the time goes by. Many people have time's up, break. They're only low, break. So in a flow state. At some point in time is when you sit there and like some sessions probably in Huddle Global when you go sit there. Yeah. You know that you're not in a flow state. You're not aligned. You're not present. You're not in that place. Your mind is wandering somewhere. You're thinking, why is this man talking so much? Why is this person saying something very irrelevant? So the moment your presence is out of your way, you're not engaged. Being present. Yeah? To check that, the best way to understand whether you are in a flow state.
There are some different things, right?
Yeah.
So supposing you're saying when you start driving and you learn driving as you go, you get into a flow state. You start enjoying. But again, as we sit in this meeting, if we are engaged in this, that is also a flow state.
Yes.
Those are different things, like learning consistency.
Yeah, it's intertwined at the end because you end up in a flow state only if you have an intention to learn. So you sit here if your intentionality is not to learn. For example, some people, on a topic, I'm not interested. I want to know who will invest in my company. Very clear.
So as long as you enjoy anything.
Yeah, as long as you enjoy anything. As long as you're in a state where, you don't feel the burden of doing it. Or you don't feel that, എന്തൊരു സംഭവമാണ് ഞാൻ ചെയ്യുന്നത്. പലപ്പോഴും നമ്മൾ എന്റർപ്രണർഷിപ്പിൽ അങ്ങനെ ഒരു സ്റ്റേറ്റിൽ നമ്മൾ പോയി എത്തും. ഇതൊന്നും ഞാൻ എൻജോയ് ചെയ്യുന്നില്ല. this is not something which I want to do. It is telling you something when you say that. It's a data coming in, right? Your body is giving you data. Your mind is giving you data that, hey, you're not in a flow state. You're not enjoying what you're doing. Go and recheck whether you want to continue doing this or you want to do something else. Because otherwise, you're constantly walking into that stress aspect.
But sometimes you keep doing it, it might get into a flow state. Sometimes you keep doing
Sometimes.
it, it might not.
Sometimes. For example, ഞാൻ നന്നായിട്ട് ഡ്രൈവ് ചെയ്യുന്നവർക്ക് ചിലപ്പോൾ ഡ്രൈവ് ചെയ്യാൻ ഇഷ്ടമല്ല. അങ്ങനത്തെയുള്ള ആൾക്കാരുണ്ടല്ലോ. എത്രയോ നന്നായിട്ട് ഡ്രൈവ് ചെയ്യും. പക്ഷേ I don't like driving. That's not a flow state. Even though I'm very skilled at it.
You don't enjoy it.
You don't enjoy it. You don't find joyfulness in that activity. Yeah? But if you're doing something, it is important for you to repeat those flow states very often. When you repeat those flow states, you need to understand what gives you joy. And to understand what gives you joy, you got to be very aware of what is triggering as an emotion. You see the link? മനസ്സിലായോ പറയുന്നത്? Yeah. So that's E. Now what is R? R എന്തായിരിക്കും? Per മേലെ R എന്തായിരിക്കും? Responsibility. Okay. വേറെ എന്തെങ്കിലും ഉണ്ടോ? Response.
Relationship.
Relationship. Relationship is an extremely important aspect. ഈ ഗൂഗിൾ തട്ടിയാണോ പറയുന്നത്? Okay. So R is relationship. When you say relationships, it means that how do you build positive relationships? Right? You're talking about relationship, and that doesn't mean that you are not very open in a relationship. You got to still give that feedback, but you give a feedback with a lot of empathy. You think from the other person's point of view, give a feedback, and then build the relationship. Set the expectations very clear. There is another way to build a positive relationship is something called gratitude. Have you heard of the word called gratitude?
Yes.
എന്താണ് gratitude?
Be thankful.
Be thankful. അപ്പോൾ നമ്മളിപ്പോൾ ഒരു ചെറിയ എക്സസൈസ് ചെയ്യാൻ പോവുകയാണ്. I want you to listen to me. Yeah? So what do I want you to do is pick up your phone, think about somebody. Before picking up the phone, think about somebody in your life. It can be your family, your friends, your teachers, someone maybe related, not related to you, who you have missed to thank. Who you have missed to thank. You could have actually thanked that person, but you have not done it. Not mindfully, പക്ഷെ ചെയ്തിട്ടില്ല. You think of someone. നമ്മുടെ ലൈഫ്സിൽ എല്ലാം ഉണ്ട് അങ്ങനെ ഒന്ന് കുറച്ച് പേരുണ്ടോ. Can you write down that person's name and who that person is? അതാണ് step 1. വേഗം ചെയ്തോളൂ. 10 seconds. കോപ്പി അടിക്കണ്ട കേട്ടോ.
ഒരുപാട് പേരുണ്ടാവും.
അതിൽ ഒരാളെ ചൂസ് ചെയ്യുക. ഒരുപാട് പേരിൽ ഒരാളെ ചൂസ് ചെയ്യുക. ഒരുപാട് പേരിൽ ഒരാളെ ചൂസ് ചെയ്യുക. ചിലപ്പോൾ നമ്മളെന്നും ഇപ്പോഴും ടച്ചിലാവില്ല അവരോട്, എങ്കിലും ചൂസ് ദാറ്റ് പേഴ്സൺ. It can be even your mom, your dad, your wife, your husband, your children. It can be anyone. Who you have really not said that I am so much thankful to you for how you've done this for me. Write it down. There's a reason I'm saying write it down. Have you written it? Okay. Now what I want you to do is, we'll take 11:15, we'll take 3 minutes. 3 minutes, exactly 3 minutes. Take your phone, call somebody and say, ചിലപ്പോൾ അപ്പുറത്തുനിന്ന് ശരിക്കും നിങ്ങൾക്ക് എന്താ പ്രാന്തായോ എന്ന് ചോദിക്കും. എന്നാലും കുഴപ്പമില്ല. ഫോൺ എടുത്തിട്ട് I am so thankful because you did this to me. Can you do it?
മെസ്സേജ് അയച്ചാൽ മതിയോ? വേറെ ടൈം സോൺ
അങ്ങനെയാണെങ്കിൽ മെസ്സേജ് അയച്ചാൽ മതി, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ വോയിസ് നോട്ട് അയച്ചാൽ മതി. You can get it from here, go and talk and come. 3 minutes, quickly. Go. That's a sign of change, right? You are putting yourself in a very uncomfortable zone. Do it. It will help you. Go. Just take the phone. വിളിച്ചു പറയും. And tell very specifically, I am calling you to actually thank you for whatever you've done for me.
But you need not be the person that we have written.
Need not be the person you've written. Please do, get up. No time, I have to go.
ഞാൻ ഡെയിലി രാവിലെ ദൈവത്തിനോട്
പോരാ, ദൈവമല്ല, ദൈവത്തിന് ഫോൺ നമ്പർ ഇല്ല. വേഗം, no time. Let's not waste time. You're all supposed to be entrepreneurs. What is this? No energy. വേഗം ഫോൺ ചെയ്ത് വോയിസ് നോട്ട് വിളിച്ച് പറയും. വേഗം വിളിച്ച് പറഞ്ഞു വേഗം അകത്തോട്ടോ. ഹസ്ന എന്താ ചുമ്മാ ഇരിക്കുന്നു? Go. Don't take it lightly what I'm saying. Just do it. I should. If you have someone who you can call and tell, do that. സംസാരിച്ചോ? വോയിസ് നോട്ട് അല്ലേ? ഫോൺ ചെയ്യാനാ പറഞ്ഞു. നമുക്ക് ആരെങ്കിലും ഉണ്ടോ ഫോൺ ചെയ്തൊരു താങ്ക് യു പറയാൻ? എന്നാ വിളിച്ചോ? മനസ്സില്ലേ? എന്താ പറയടോ? call somebody? Call somebody and say thank you. You can call Anupambika and say thank you. പറഞ്ഞോ എന്താ പറഞ്ഞേ
Okay. She and she's still doing something for me.
Did you do it? വിളിച്ചില്ലേ
അച്ഛനമ്മയോട് മാത്രമേ പറയാനുള്ളൂ, വേറെ ആരോടും.
പറഞ്ഞോ എന്താ പറയാത്തത്? പറയൂ. അമ്മയെ വിളിച്ച് പറയൂ.
വീട്ടിൽ നിന്ന് പുറത്താക്കും, വീട്ടിൽ നിന്ന് പുറത്താക്കും.
ചുമ്മാ.
ഹലോ ഇതാണ് ശരി.
എന്തെങ്കിലും വലിച്ചിരിക്കുകയാണോ
അതൊക്കെയാണ് അതിന്റെ കാര്യം. അതൊക്കെയാണ് അതിന്റെ കാര്യം. Because they get so shocked when you say something, right? Because they are not used to that. So I'll tell you how it works. നീ ചീത്ത പറയാൻ വിളിക്കല്ലേടാ.
കസ്റ്റമറിന് കാശ് തന്നതിന് കസ്റ്റമറിന് കാശ് തന്നതിന്
കാശ്
ഹലോ
കിട്ടിയ ചാൻസിൽ എല്ലാരും പോയി അവിടെ.
പാലക്കാട് പോയിട്ട് നിങ്ങൾ അതിലോട്ടാക്കി ക്ലോസ് ചെയ്തിട്ട്
Okay, so when we talk about this sounds very weird, this sounds very unusual, and some people also tell me this is not part of our culture. Thanking is not part of our culture, but we will thank our customer, we will thank everybody, but we will not thank our own people. That's something we never do. We take them for granted. I'll tell you how gratitude works in this space. Gratitude activates something called a reward. It's called the reward part in your brain. Rewards in വേണ്ടിയിട്ട് നമ്മുടെ ബ്രെയിനിൽ ഒരു പാർട്ട് ഉണ്ട്. Yeah? And that gets activated with gratitude. ഇപ്പൊ നിങ്ങളെ വിളിച്ച ഒരാൾ പറയാണ്, you did so much for me, I'm so thankful to you. How do you feel about that? You feel happy. You feel joyful that somebody is thinking about me and somebody is telling me that I did something for that person. Correct? Now what happens is it also puts you in a very difficult situation because you feel very small to talk about it. That's where your ego part a lot plays a point. ഞാൻ താങ്ക് ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ അവരെന്നെ പറ്റി എന്ത് കരുതും പ്രാന്താന്ന് കരുതും, വട്ടാന്ന് കരുതും. ചിലപ്പോൾ അത് 2 പ്രാവശ്യം കരുതും, 3ാമത്തെ പ്രാവശ്യം they know that you are somebody who really means it. So gratitude plays an extremely important role in terms of your well-being as a person. And the latest research talks about it, that the more you practice gratitude, the more joyful you are as a person. And the more joyful you are, you process your emotions much better. Because then you are actually aligning yourself to something in your neuroscience which helps you to package the entire thing into a reward category. നമുക്ക് എപ്പോഴും റിവാർഡ്സ് കിട്ടുന്നില്ല. കിട്ടുന്ന ശമ്പളവും കാശും മാത്രമല്ല റിവാർഡ്സ്, അല്ലേ? ഇതും റിവാർഡ്സ് ആണ്. And the more you listen to somebody about gratitude, the more you talk to that person about gratitude, it has a lot of work which it does in your brain cells. So we also talk about something called gratitude journal. So if you're not able to talk about it, write down on a periodical basis. Write it down, because writing has a link between your brain and the way your cells are functioning. That is why writing is very important, not typing, writing. Yeah, it's a part of healing. Writing works like therapy for all of us. So in the night, if you sit and work on writing, saying that today this happened and I am thankful to these one or two people, or to these 2-3 things, or even to God, as you mentioned. Or that I am thankful that I just got up today in the morning and I am breathing and I am living. I have another day bonus. It is true for all of us, right? So that is something which you need to write down, and that builds a relationship. The more gratitude you practice, the more meaningful your relationship becomes with people. നമ്മൾ പലപ്പോഴും നമ്മൾ പറയാറുണ്ട്, ഞാൻ എന്തൊക്കെ ഇയാൾക്ക് ചെയ്തു കൊടുത്തിട്ടുണ്ട്, ഒരു കാര്യമില്ല, വിളിച്ചൊരു താങ്ക്സ് പോലും പറയില്ല. പറയാറില്ലേ? പലപ്പോഴും നമ്മൾ പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ട്. നമ്മൾ ഫാമിലിയിൽ നിന്ന് അത് എക്സ്പെക്ട് ചെയ്യില്ലെങ്കിലും പുറത്തെ ആൾക്കാർ എന്തായാലും അത് എക്സ്പെക്ട് ചെയ്യും. How much ever we are, I didn't get anything. ഞാൻ എന്തൊക്കെയോ സഹായം ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ട്, പക്ഷെ എന്നെ കണ്ടാൽ ചിരിക്കുക പോലും ഇല്ല, ഞാനിവിടെ ഉണ്ടെന്ന് പോലും അക്നോളജ് ചെയ്യില്ല, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ എന്നെ വിളിച്ചൊരു താങ്ക്സ് പറയാറില്ല, റൈറ്റ്? So what really happens over a period of time is that if you really don't practice gratitude, it becomes little of an issue for your brain because you are not activating your reward space. And reward is very important for you to be happy. Yeah, so that is about relationships.
Close ആയിട്ടുള്ളവർക്ക് താങ്ക്സ് പറയുമ്പോൾ it becomes too formal.
അതാണ് culture. That's why I said in our culture we don't do it, but then it has a pertinent place in it.
Maybe for them we feel distant.
താങ്ക്സ് പറഞ്ഞു, ഇതിനൊക്കെ എന്തിനാ താങ്ക്സ് പറയുന്നതെന്ന് പറയും, പക്ഷെ അവർക്ക് ഇഷ്ടമാണ് ആ കേൾക്കുന്നത്.
We never know.
Can you please not make that noise? So what happens really is, in a way, that you, even if you don't want to listen to that thanks, you will still say, എനിക്ക് ഇഷ്ടമാണ് നീ താങ്ക്സ് പറഞ്ഞത് നന്നായി, പക്ഷെ ഞാൻ എൻ്റെ ഒരു സൈഡിൽ നിന്ന് ഞാൻ വെറുതെ താങ്ക്സ് ഒക്കെ പറയുന്നത്, പക്ഷെ I like to hear that.
Defensive or?
Huh?
You become defensive.
Yeah. That's what really happens. But you still like it. You still like somebody thanking you, right? Yes or no? You all like it. That's a natural process of a human being. So that's on relationship. How do you manage, nurture your relationships? And in your relationships, there is gratitude. There is another factor called kindness. Kindness. And kindness, how does it help us? Is in terms of adum varum kindness alla. It's talking about random act of kindness. ഞാൻ ഒരു എക്സാമ്പിൾ പറഞ്ഞുതരാം. നമ്മളിപ്പം ബിസി ആയിട്ട് നമ്മൾ റോഡിൽ പോകുന്നു, ലെറ്റ്സ് സേ ഒരു റോഡ് ക്രോസ് ചെയ്യാനായിട്ട് ഒരു വയസ്സായ ആരെങ്കിലും നിൽക്കുന്നു. ടെൻഡൻസി is that we don't pay attention, we keep driving, right? But when you suddenly see these people and when we try and stop the car and allow these people pass the road or cross the road, what really happens is it activates a mechanism in you which keeps you very grounded. Because you've done something very meanwhile. And it is random act of kindness because you do not really assess who you are kind to. You're not planning it. You're just doing it as you see it. There are two ways of looking at it. One is that you pay so much attention to your surroundings. So you're very present, you're very attentive to the surroundings, and kindness actually activates your parasympathetic nervous system, which means it calms you down. It ensures that your well-being is at the most. It immediately takes out the stresses which you are carrying. Because your mind is shifting towards something more positive as an emotion, which is joy. Not even happy, it's joy. നമ്മൾ ചിലപ്പോൾ കൈൻഡ്നെസ് കാണുമ്പോൾ നമുക്ക് കണ്ണിൽ കൂടെ വെള്ളം വരും. ചില റാൻഡം ആക്ട്സ് ഒക്കെ കാണുമ്പോൾ പെട്ടെന്ന് കണ്ണിൽ കൂടെ വെള്ളം. ഒരു വീഡിയോ ഇടയ്ക്ക് ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നില്ലേ, there was a girl who somebody shared in our group, right? There was somebody walking into that retail shop and there was a lady from poor economic background with a child walks in, and this person actually gives a dress to that child, gets that, and I think some Instagram video was getting circulated. And many a times, when I look at the child smile, you feel so much of joy in you that you feel like crying. Because kindness activates that in you. Kindness activates some positive emotion in you. That's why we get hooked on to kindness related videos if you really look at it. എന്തോ ചെയ്യും, നമുക്ക് എന്തോ ഒരു ഫീലിംഗ് ആണ് അല്ലേ? And those are ways of nurturing your relationship. Make it more positive.
How much is
also know when to stop, right? Because kindness.
We'll come to that.
Yeah.
We'll come to that. So we'll talk about boundaries.
Yeah.
Come to that. Yeah.
how much is thanks in officially everyday office work?
Why wouldn't you do that?
Kindness.
A lot of it,
Not
we put
kindness,
a hold
thanks.
on. Arpi, a lot of times what we do is we kind of restrict ourselves from exploring or expressing ourselves. Because we always think that expressing ourselves is going away from what we are. Like how you said. It can be a case for the other person, but it may not be a case for you. You may be very consciously moving out, and people will get used to the new you over a period of time. They'll see that change in you and see, okay, this person has changed, this person is different, this person is approachable, this person is more loving, this person is more kind. You see? This person is appreciating me quickly. മുമ്പേ ഒന്നും പറയില്ല, പക്ഷെ ഇപ്പൊ നന്നായിട്ട് എന്നെ അപ്രീഷിയേറ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്നു. Small things. The magic of life lives in small things and not in big things. How attentive you are to the small things around you and how you feel about it. And I'll come to the entrepreneurship part of it, because you are an interaction or a conduit between almost all the segments of your stakeholders as an entrepreneur. Right? You work like a aggregator in between. You're working with the customer, you're working with the vendor, you're working with your employees, you're working with the government, you're working with your own self, you're working with your team. There's so many people, with your investors. These are all different people. How do you actually work with them? Have you imagined? You have to keep changing and shifting yourself to each of their whims and fancies. And yet, take care of your own self. Because all this can actually take in a lot of emotions and then suppress it. Our idea of emotional management is actually suppressing the emotion, which is false. That is not the way you should do it. You should process the emotion. Somewhere you should also have meaningful relationships where you can go and talk about it. That is why R is very important. So I have something which I am not very happy with somebody. I need to have a space where I can go and talk to. I need to go and figure out a person who I can go and say, you know what, this happened and I felt very angry. I just want to talk about it. You know, many times we just want to talk. We are not expecting solutions. We just need to talk. That's it. In talking only we will figure out solutions. That's why you have a mentor, you have a coach, you have somebody who is a psychologist or a counselor or even a best friend. Someone who you can just go and open up, be vulnerable, and in a very psychologically safe space where nobody is judging you. So that is a powerful personal or positive relationship you need to build. If somebody is not judging me, who am I, what am I saying? Nothing, but I can be myself to that person. And that comes with showing gratitude, that comes with active listening, that comes with kindness, that comes with a lot of positive emotions getting triggered consistently. And that is a key word, consistently. Practice it. Yeah?
Just a personal doubt actually. Over the years, what I observed about myself was, I have stopped talking about whatever you were telling to anyone.
Shut yourself down.
I have completely shut myself down, and I talk to a lot of people, but I don't talk about any of these things with anyone. And the reason why I don't do it is, as you rightly said, I don't talk to anyone who can't give me a solution. And mostly nobody can give a solution. I have to solve my own problems. So what I did, I totally cut myself down. I just wanted to know if it is okay, or I'm okay. At least I feel okay with that. But this is one change. A lot of people ask me, what is wrong? I said, nothing. Just leave it. Is it okay? Or
Nothing, just leave it itself tells that there is a problem.
I have a problem. When I say nothing, leave it, I will handle it. Don't interfere. Like that thought process mostly comes
See,
from
if you are able to really process it and handle it yourself, great, right? But somewhere you will also know that you cannot do everything by yourself. You need an external person who you can really go to as a person. And that is why relationships are very, very important. Because over a period of time, then you are overworked in solving everything for yourself. And it will start showing up as we age. It will not show up now. All this together will go into like a, let's say, exit ഉണ്ട് അവിടെ പോയി clog ചെയ്ത് നിൽക്കുകയാണ് ഇങ്ങനെ. You know what I'm saying? There is one hole which need to be pushed out and slowly getting clogged. And the more it gets clogged, one day it's going to burst. And you don't know how it is going to happen. It can be in physical form, it can be in a mental form, it can be in an emotional outburst, it can be depression, it can be any of these what we are talking about, and we do not know. And usually you should know that whenever we are suppressing this, it is actually going through that process again and again and again. It's a warning signal. So typically, physically you will feel fatigued. You will feel tingling. You will feel hands are shivering. You will feel no focus. You will feel sleepy in the mornings. All these are things which is telling you you're not processing your emotions well. Because your physical nature is not away from what you feel as an emotion and mentally. it will show up. Anxiety, palpitation, kayum kalum irakkunnu. Alle? So you have these multiple things which goes on in you as you build your emotional status, which is not really going up to where you can release them in a positive way, talk to somebody, use those relationships where you can talk about all these. So that's why it is important.
ഞാൻ നേരത്തെ പറയണമെന്ന് വിചാരിച്ചൊരു കാര്യമായിരുന്നു ഈ പ്രോസസ്സിംഗ് ഓഫ് ദിസ് ഇമോഷൻ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞില്ലേ ഐ ഓൾസോ ഡോണ്ട് ബിലീവ് ഇൻ സപ്രസിംഗ് ദി ഇമോഷൻ ബട്ട് ഇറ്റ് ഈസ് നോട്ട് ഓൾവേസ് നെസസറി ദറ്റ് യു എക്സ്പ്രസ് ഓർ യുവർ ഇമോഷൻ say anger. It's not necessary you need to express it always.
You can express it, but you don't need to act on
it. And what I try to do is through empathy, I try to understand the situation. Through that, I try to process the emotion.
That is a question what she asked. How do you do that so many times, right? You got to put some boundaries for self-care. There is also boundary which we set physically, emotionally, mentally, and to ensure that it is important for us that something is not encroaching. So anger is actually a wonderful data which tells us, why am I getting angry? Somebody or something is encroaching into my boundary, and that boundary can be emotional boundary, physical boundary, psychological boundary, whatever boundary we are talking about. അതുകൊണ്ടാണ് നമുക്ക് ദേഷ്യം വരുന്നത്. അതെന്താണെന്ന് നമ്മൾ ചെയ്യാറില്ല. We never figure out. It can be that somebody is not aligned to my values, my emotional boundary, my values, right? Second, it can be somebody negating completely how I feel. I may feel very anxious, but somebody is not paying attention to my anxiety. I get angry. So anger is actually one wonderful data which tells you how you set your boundaries. And it is important for you to keep that boundary intact. And when you actually have empathy going too much your way, somewhere you are also not communicating to the other person, hey, this is what I feel about this. This is how I'm feeling about it. I want to tell you that this is what I'm feeling about it. Maybe we should not repeat it and we should figure out a way where we can sit and talk and discuss that such things are not coming up again and again. So you are expressing your anguish and anger. You're also trying to see how you can sort it with that person so that it's not getting repeated again. Then you're also forcing the other person to be empathetic in a way.
Empathy plays a role. What is the next step is that? Like,
We'll come to that. Yeah, we'll come to that. So we said PER. Third one is M. What is M?
Mindset.
Mindset. Okay. Any other thought?
Motivation.
Mindfulness.
Mindfulness. Yeah. Moral values. Anything else?
Motivation.
So M is actually meaning. Meaning. Meaning of what? Life. What are you doing here? What are you getting up every day morning for? To come and attend a huddle global. What are you really doing, right? We may have arrived, we may think we have arrived, only Ola and Uber arrives usually. We never arrive. But when we think we have arrived, at least, we should know what have we arrived at. What is that we are actually trying here? So how do we realize that there is a purpose or a meaning to our life? It is beyond your things which will give you hedonic adaptation. What is hedonic adaptation? It need not be just materialistic. It can be anything. It's like I get used to something. I think something makes me happy. I possess that, and over a period of time, I realize that that's no more making me happy. I got to find something more. So typically in corporates, it happens that you got to keep increasing your salary. You have to keep giving more rewards and recognition. Design it differently, because you are always getting people into adapt into something which is called hedonic adaptation. We are all victims of that. But what doesn't give you hedonic adaptation is good experiences. Going to Huddle Global, talking to few people, arranging a few sessions. You carry that experience. Hedonic. Hedonic. Yeah. So over a period of time, you realize that these experiences changes us something internally. And the more we interact with people, the more we learn from people, those are experiences which gives you a positive twist in terms of how you feel well-being as a whole. So it goes beyond just being happy at that moment. Does that make sense? So meaning is something which will come to you only when you introspect and reflect. You sit and think, what is that I'm doing behind this? Why should I actually be doing all this? How is it helping me? Is it making me joyful? So it's all linked to that. We spoke about the flow state, how it is a flow state. Yeah, you don't even know that the time is flying when I'm sitting in something that I'm so much loving what I'm doing. And then I move into something, okay, is this something which I am built for? Some people say counseling is my calling, or some people say teaching is my calling, being a doctor is my calling. The word calling comes with purpose. I have a purpose, and it is not just the profits or things I acquire or the brands I choose or the way I travel or where I stay. No, it's not. It goes beyond that. Every day morning you get so joyful to getting up and doing those things again and again. That means you're figuring out your meaning. And meaning need not be always the same. It can keep changing. But it is important for you to recognize why you're doing what you're doing. Tough. But good to figure it out. Because over a period of time you realize, maybe I could have done something very different to make myself a little more relaxed and happy. May make me feel a little more just one life that I'm really joyful about. Yeah. And the third one, A, which is very important. Anyone can tell what is A?
Achievement.
Achievement, absolutely. It can be achievement or acknowledgement. What are you achieving? And those are not things which you achieve out of these hedonic adaptation, what I'm saying, right? You have a three-bedroom apartment which you got, or you got one airplane in your backyard, or, it's not that what we're talking about. We're talking about something where I have achieved, I have touched a few lives, or am I acknowledging myself that a few things I have done for myself? Have I upskilled myself? You may actually be thinking that I have learned so much, there is so much, but then afterwards you will know that you have got nowhere. The difficult thing about today's place is that we want to show success to everyone. We want to tell everyone I am very successful. In the way I dress, in the way I walk, in the way I talk, in the way especially with the social media happening, I want to show that I am successful. But internally you really know where you stand, isn't it? We all know. Where am I? The more and more you go away from that reality, the more and more you are putting your system in stress. There's a lot of friction internally. Better way is to acknowledge, what am I? What am I doing? And I'm a person with all the goodness, ugliness and the badness of this world. It's okay as I am. However that is, I may not know a lot of things, but it is okay. And that is where a curious mindset plays an important factor. And curiosity is not about just outside world. Curiosity also with our inside world. What is really going on in me? Why am I feeling this way? So stress need not be that always I feel anxiety. Stress also can be where I feel very numb. Very numb. I'm not responding to anything. I don't want to talk to anyone. I'm not engaged in anything. I've got nothing called flow state. It's a classic symptom of chronic stress. Yeah. And we said PERMA.
Empty.
Empty. It's also empty. You feel very empty. As a typical word you say empty, you can write in many ways. I was seeing that video. Remove E, then it becomes empty. Still empty. You remove M, still empty. Right? I saw the video. It's beautifully done. So the point what I'm trying to say is when you talk about PERMA, which is, what is P? Positive emotions. E? Engagement. R? Relationships.
And
Meaning of life. Yes. A? Acknowledgement. Extremely critical. Again, a reward instillating behavior. Gratitude, kindness. And these two things I would suggest, please practice. Very consciously practice. Till it becomes part of you. Not just calling and saying, hey, thank you for getting me dinner. No. Make it more meaningful.
Acknowledgement.
Acknowledgement to yourself.
To yourself or from external?
No, externally we have no control. How can I tell you that you're going to tell me, Vinitha, it was a wonderful session. I have no control on it, right? So it is typically that I can acknowledge myself, and that's the best way of bringing in my well-being over a period of time. Yeah. So University of Yale talks about well-being as an essential factor for students studying there. They keep saying you may be placed in one of those biggest companies, you may be making a lot of money, But if you're really not taking care of well-being, you're going to break down at some point in time without your knowledge. So invest in well-being. Invest your time in well-being. Invest your thought process, emotions, feelings, and everything in your well-being. And every little thing you talk about, keep that well-being in your mind. And be very mindful of that factor. Of course, mindfulness comes with presence. Mindfulness also talks about, you have various methods of bringing up mindfulness, meditation. We talk about a lot of things. It all has a significant impact on the brain structure and how it really works neurologically. Yeah? And there is also a perma plus. There is a plus. And the plus talks about factors like optimism. Keep yourself positive. Which means a narrative. Like I told you, I am sad, only so many people. But I'm happy, at least so many people are there. The narratives I tell myself.
These people came by choice.
Yes.
Found the venue even if it's away from the main
See, absolutely.
random.
Wonderful narrative, right? I should be feeling very proud of myself. On the other side, I'll say, so many empty chairs. Oh my God. Right? Optimism. How do you actually continue consistently be optimism as a factor in you? That's consistently optimistic. Second one is physical wellness. All of this can be achieved by being physically active. So I'm not just calling out exercise here. I'm talking about something called movement. Move more. Aerobic, anaerobic, strength training, whatever you can do, move more. The more you move, the more your brain works better. The more your mind processes your emotions better. Third one, extremely critical, nutrition. There's so much talk going on about how your gut actually controls your brain. It is not the other way around. What you put in your gut is what actually your brain takes and processes. Asian Ayurvedic practice, we talk about it, right? Yes or no? First you treat your gut, then you treat every other problem in you. So that really happens because whatever you put in your stomach is what you are. Yeah, you are what you consume. And in every way what you consume, not just food. Doom scrolling, popcorn brain, all these are problems. Right?
Popcorn
Nutrition. You don't know what's popcorn brain? I'll tell you that. Anyone knows what's a popcorn brain? Wonderful test to do it actually. Keep your mobile somewhere, probably in the kitchen. Go out and keep checking how many times I have this tendency to go to my mobile and check what is going on. Popcorn brain. It's like popping. Popping. I need to check. Who has messaged me? Who has called me? Who's going to shout at me? Who's going to tell me thank you?
Like impulsiveness?
Yeah?
Impulsiveness?
Sorry?
Impulsiveness?
Yeah, anything. Everything comes into that. Impulsiveness, all of that. So we spoke about optimism, physical, nutrition, and third one is called mindfulness. How do you practice being very mindful, which means being in the present? And how do you align to that presence is something where you have focus, where you know at present I am doing this irrespective of who is there. I am committed to doing this and I am in that flow state. Comes with practice. Practice. Mindfulness is only practice. Being present is only practice. Every time you practice, the more you are present. And when the more you are present, you don't need reference points. You really can listen more actively. You can pick up things more beautifully and process it for yourself. Yeah? So we quickly covered what all? Emotions, feelings, thoughts and behaviors. We spoke about feeling wheel. We talked about how do you download it and use it as a reference point at many points in times. We spoke about PERMA plus, P for positive emotion, E for engagement,
relationship,
meaning of life, acknowledgement or achievement. And what are those pluses? 4 pluses. Optimism,
physical wellness,
nutrition,
mindfulness.
Magic portion of well-being being delivered to you right now. Now it's up to you how you actually use it. I'm done. Thank you so much. I'm glad at least with all the distance you figured that anyone came here, and I'm thankful to Huddle Global and obviously all who enabled this, because this was the first time we attempted something completely away from skilling and we spoke about mental well-being, and I think it was a great way that we started this activity in Huddle Global, because this has been something which we've been wanting for a very, very, very long time. How do we also take care of entrepreneurial wellness? Yeah. So I'm thankful to each one of you attending this session, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Before I go, I just want to introduce Srimati. Please come.
You want me to come here?
Yes, please.
I thought you were going to do that in the next session.
Yeah. This is a small little crowd who is very
Sure.
yeah. So meet
Show my solidarity.
yeah, Ms. Srimati Shivshankar. She is corporate vice president at HCL Tech.
Hi, I'm from HCL Tech.
Yeah.
I'm a startup myself within HCL.
Yeah, so she is someone who is also a great proponent of technology in TV and triple bottom line. Yeah.
That's the topic next.
Yeah, that's the topic. So we see each one of you at the main stage. If you're aware, and you can come there at 12:55. We'll be having a chat on some pertinent topics on technology for globally scaling up.
I just wanted to share a few things. Is that okay?
Yes.
Yeah, please.
Sessions. I'm a corporate officer at HCL Tech. Probably one of the women executives in South Asia at the CXO level in technology. So I've been working for many years, donkey's years. I don't want to tell you my age. I know all these are very nice, but let me tell you, the biggest issue we have is not exercising every day. No matter what. I do every day 1 hour, no matter what. My EA knows between 6 and 7 in the evening, she doesn't disturb. It doesn't matter. If you don't have your me time, none of these things work. Let me tell you. I have grown up children, I have my in-laws, I have my parents, and my extended family. I still take time. It's gender neutral, both men and women. If you don't invest time in your wellness, your well-being is not going to. I'm saying it so many times. It's a mandatory. If you come and if you're going to be part of my team, you'll see between 4 and 5 people hate to come to my room, because if I'm in Chennai and I am doing my team reviews, I walk. I walk around my campus, which is exactly 2 kilometers. So, including Muthu, look at him smiling. They all run away. When I say 4 o'clock review, nobody's around, because they know between 4 and 5 you get good sun. And that's a time to walk. Most of your stress, you will have stress. I'm sorry, I do get angry. It's okay to be angry, but it's okay to say sorry as well. Right? So you build a repute that it's like the way you are greedy for good, you're also greedy for asking forgiveness to your team, then your ego diminishes, right? So it's okay to be angry, but it's not good to pass the stress. But it's good to pass as entrepreneurs, pass the good habits and walk every day. The more you walk, let me tell you, you're going to be more successful. Indian startups, most of them come to me and they come and say, "She, tell us some success mantras." I said, "What the hell? How can I tell you how you can be successful in your own business? You're not taking time to think because you're stressed. You're not finding time to take insights because your body is giving away. When you don't have strength, what do you think? You're tired all the time." So it's my humble submission. Sports teaches a lot of things, and people who start off sports at a young age are the big fighters when they become entrepreneurs. But most importantly, you are going to have politics every year. You're going to run a political rat race. You're going to have investment rat race. You're going to have a competitiveness. Each one of you in this room are your own peer competitors to bid for something. We are angry. We are full of people who are wild animals out there. No one is nice. Everyone is wild out there, right? If they put in money, I want to see 12x in you. But you have to treat your body well. That's my humble submission. I keep telling
Thank you for
everyone. The more you walk, the more you sweat. Your brain clears up.
Yeah.
It works for me. Right, Muthu? I'm sorry. I have to ask a confident here, right? Otherwise, people like us will be like on the top of the roof all the time, right? You can't be a cool animal, right? You need to be like a duck. Have you seen a duck? I love the duck because duck goes upstream and she's paddling. Mother duck. I have not seen a father duck, but I've seen a mother duck with all his little ducklings, right? And she's paddling under the water. But look, have you seen her? She's like, I'm not petrified at all, right? I have to go upstream for my food. I have to teach my kids to also pedal like the way I pedal. But I can't just show my anger, my angushness, but she stresses out. Be a duck. There's so much to learn from a duck. I know some of you love to eat duck, but there's also things to learn from duck. Right? So I'm sorry, but I just thought.
No, I think that was so much.
So much.
What is the real me
Running.
This is the me time.
The me time is so important. Do you know something? Whenever I want to go and hit the gym, I say no, I'm not around. My boss is fine. I mean, he loves that idea that someone as a corporate officer he says, with a client I do say sometimes, 7 to 8, can you keep it like 8:30? And they say, why? And I say, I think I'll be on the road. I may be cycling. I may be running. Get my point, right? I'm sure he's also doing it. And he says, I love that idea, man. When I'm going to do it. So you have something more common to talk rather than just business. And medium could be anything. Your painting, your Starbucks coffee. If you love coffee, why not, right? And for some of us, it could even be cooking, right? Some of us, it could be grooming. We all need to look good, right? Many times I tell my team members, I think I need to give you salon allowance. Because we forget. Because we don't have time to go to salon. And then you go and say, you go and tell the customer, you tell your sales guy, you're the brand. How can he be a brand when he doesn't have time to groom? When you're chasing money, you forget that he has to be groomed too, right? Salon allowance. I keep telling them, maybe I should give you a barber allowance, man. And then they say, oh no, Shrimati, I'll go this Saturday. Correct? Then I work with the HR and give them 25% discount. Right? It's actually nice. They go and then they come back. So I think it's important that me time. Many of us don't look well because we don't have it. You stand in front of the mirror, you want to look good, right? You want to look good. Care a damn whether your spouse says or your boss says you're looking great. You don't want all that. You want to look good. I do believe the startups, the biggest thing I don't see in the startups, I go across the world and I talk to people for my own business. You need to be groomed more. Indian startups need that grooming. We are all very bright on our heads inside. We need to spend time on our own. We accept, right?
Yes.
We need it. What the hell, yeah? 90% of the world goes on perceptions and cues. They want to know what you carry in your blazer, right? You don't need a blazer, but still.
Yeah.
You get me, right? Please invest time. And well-being only can help you to get groomed, not barbers or I don't know. Of course, you need beauticians, but I'm just saying. Okay, you need to look good and feel good.
Great. Thank
You're
you,
an
Shri.
amazing coach. You had a good round of applause. And best of luck with whatever you do.
Yeah.
Keep smiling no matter what.
Quickly?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Shri.
One second, guys. Okay, so I was supposed to say the vote of thanks, but I
I've
don't.
already said
Yeah, she just took my
That's how
spotlight.
God friends are for, right?
No, so I totally believe there's no need for a formal vote of thanks in such an event. So if I have to share just my POV, when we just reached the event, there was 2 organizers and we both organizers were like, we are in a crisis. But when we should support her because she has put so much efforts into her session and she was expecting people and all. So she was calming us down because we were in so much pressure and all. But I was so inspired when you have such a special aura. I should say that, and it was actually such a wonderful session. I wanted to attend it all, but
you did.
I'm a volunteer, so I have
But
to.
we got the summary, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Carrying
so
it
that
with
was very
all
useful.
the acronyms.
So a person with such a special aura, we couldn't leave her empty-handed. So I would like, ma'am,
Oh, I will.
give her
I
a
want to
small
do the
token
honors.
of appreciation,
I want to do
please.
the honors.
Let's give her a good round of applause.